Yeah, so that is the question. With such strict protocols in place, many are asking how could this have happened? The veteran director of photography is surprised and puzzled by the Baldwin set accident, and here's what he had to say.
I'm quite surprised to hear about this tragic accident this morning because, to be perfectly honest, the protocols involved in having firearms on set are very strict. You can't even have a replica weapon or a dummy weapon on set now without having a licensed armorer. I can't speak for what happens in the state of New Mexico. I've worked in the US, of course, and I must admit I've always found the safety protocols involving weapons, certainly in the US, to be very strict and very well adhered to.
With that being said, we wanted to continue our coverage and take a deeper dive from an actor's perspective. What happens at the point after these protocols have been combed through, after the weapons manager hands off the weapon prop to the actor? Joining us now is Trevor Abel. He's a local actor who's been in several movies with stars such as John Leguizamo, Christopher Stanley, Taylor Kitsch, in movies such as Waco, Longmire, and Get Shorty. And he has a lot of experience dealing, we've been talking about it, weapons props. So thank you, Trevor, for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I wish it was under different circumstances, and my condolences and prayers to all those affected.
So are you surprised about this? Are you because we were talking, like you said, sometimes they have real guns, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I am. It kind of echoes back to what happened with Brandon Lee on The Crow many years ago. They say it was a piece of shrapnel that was left over from a blank. I'm not sure, but what a lot of people don't realize, it's not always a cap gun or a prop gun. Sometimes you're using a real AR-15, AK-47, whatever have you, but it's filled with blanks. And those blanks can still be dangerous. I remember when I was working with Christopher Stanley from Mad Men, he and I were side by side in the shootout scene, firing at the Branch Davidians. I felt the pressure from the cap gun he was using. Now, when I was on set, they only let people who had either a military background or law enforcement background use the quote unquote live rounds, the blanks. But the armory specialist that they had, he would give us kind of like a full disclosure walkthrough. He'd be like, this is an M4, this is an AR-15. And he would take the clip out to show you that it was empty. He would pull the slide back to show you that there was nothing in the chamber. They were pretty, safe.
Let's talk about, I did see one of your movies, the one about the Branch Davidians. You played one of the ATF agents, and this was all about the Waco tragedy. And there was there was a lot of gunfire in that movie. I remember a lot of fire and gunfire, and you were in the middle of all of that. And you said that some people, the ones who are military police, they were given certain guns and you were given a certain gun. So explain what's that like? That seems like a lot of confusion. Like, why don't they just all get fake guns?
Well, you would think. I mean, I don't know if that has to do with the cost of, CGI, muzzle flare, and whatnot. And people like continuity; they like it to be as organic and realistic as possible. But I was given a rubber Beretta, but it's just like being in a real firefight. They're using those blanks. They have the same muzzle flare. It's just as loud. They would simulate gunfire by pelleting the truck with paintballs. You feel like you're in a real firefight. I mean, when you're an actor, you kind of just play dress up and make believe. But I took it to the next level. I just told myself, okay, you're in a real firefight right now.
Have you seen people get hurt in these fake firefights?
No, but I mean, not in my experience, because like I said, I was fortunate enough to have a good weapons manager on set. But like I said, the prop guns are no joke. Or the blanks. If you're within the close proximity, you'll feel the pressure. Like you could potentially get killed from the pressure if it went off close to your head or a vital organ or something like that. It's still very dangerous.
Walk us through the protocol again. I know you brushed over a little bit of it, but what is the protocol when they're going to have guns or they hand out the guns? How are you given your gun compared to somebody else who's experienced?
Yeah, well, I worked for the brothers Dowdle. They did the movie As Above, So Below. They directed Waco. They had a really good safety protocol. They basically what they did, they by a show of hands who was in law enforcement or has a military background, we only want people with that experience handling the blanks. So, like I said, I would have been perfectly qualified. I like to shoot recreationally. I've shot 50 caliber Desert Eagle pistols, AK-47s, 50 BMGs at the range, but I didn't have a military or law enforcement background, so they just gave me on that day a rubber Beretta, but there were other times where I carried, I think, what were real weapons, but with no blanks. They only gave the blanks to people with those backgrounds. So, like I said,
It
I was
seems confusing to me. I don't know. It seems confusing. Do you think, especially after this happened, do you think a gun with real bullets slipped through a Hollywood set for whatever reason, bad luck, but there was a bullet in a gun that was supposed to be a prop? Do you think there needs to be some serious changes in protocol?
I think they're definitely going to be undergoing some reform. It sucks that it has to be at the expense of this poor girl and the director. Like I said, it should have been, never should have happened in the first place. It's stupid. You know, I can't imagine what Alec Baldwin's feeling, but even so, even when I had the gun, like they showed me, you know, they pulled the slide back, they emptied the clip to show me that it was completely unloaded. So I knew going into it, I had that disclosure. But even as an actor, if some prop guy manager handed me a gun, you better believe I'm still going to take the mag out and pull the slide back to make sure there's not one in the chamber.
Yep, the director said something was, go ahead.
Yeah, and just to echo what they said earlier, there's really, the director is supposed to be behind the camera. There's no reason to point the gun in the direction of any of the crew.
Who knows?
So,
I guess we'll find out more information, but the director said something was seriously overlooked here. So it's good that you check your guns, Trevor, and when you're handed a gun, and I hope to see you in another movie in the future, and I'll be looking at these other movies, and I won't be looking at gunfire scenes the same again. So Trevor,
yeah, no, it's like I was there, that intense.
Trevor Abel, be safe, and thank you so much for your expertise this afternoon.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.